Hey everybody, I'm John Swantek. Welcome to this week's edition of Match Play on PGATour.com. Let's meet our two contestants who will be debating and discussing three topics in a match play format. We welcome Steve DiMeglio, covering the world of golf for USA Today, and Fred Albers from the PGA TOUR Network on SiriusXM Radio, who has the honor for topic number one. PGA Tour, Champions Tour, Nationwide Tour all played TPC courses last week, Fred. That, of course, was one of the visions of former PGA Tour Commissioner Deane Beman. Which of Beman's accomplishments do you feel is the most enduring, though?
Well, I think the commissioner brought modern economics to the PGA Tour. He was foresighted in turning it into more of a business, from the TPC courses to the retirement plan. I think his lasting legacy is the financial acumen he brings to the PGA Tour and made millionaires out of its members.
Steve, he was the only player in the modern era to become commissioner of his sport. He certainly brought a unique perspective to the job, didn't he?
Well, that's where I'll go. I think his legacy is the yardage book. Deane Beman was the one that introduced Jack Nicklaus to the yardage book before the 1961 U.S. Amateur. And then Jack started carrying more and more on the PGA Tour, and the other players followed, obviously, because he was Jack Nicklaus. He was the best player. That has led to the yardage book explosion, which has led most recently to the cottage industry of high-tech devices for yardage. Whenever you pick up a laser finder or an app on your phone or a regular yardage book on paper, just remember Deane Beman was the one that got Jack Nicklaus started, and that was where it all began.
Good points both. Can't go wrong with any accomplishments of Deane Beman. I'm going to have that one. Neither of our contestants mentioned his playing career, especially as an amateur, which I thought was sensational. 2 U.S. amateur titles and 1 British Am for Deane Beman. So we're all squares. We head to topic 2. Goes to Steve DiMeglio. We're looking forward to this week's Heritage at Harbour Town Golf Links. It's a Pete Dye design, Steve. Which of his works is most synonymous with his World Golf Hall of Fame career?
Well, this is like a tap-in putt. You can't go wrong with TPC Sawgrass. Even my friends who don't play golf much, when the Players' Championship comes on, they know who Pete Dye is. That golf course encapsulates everything about Pete Dye that the general public knows. The railroad tie, the island green, water everywhere. If you looked up TPC Sawgrass in a dictionary, there would be Pete Dye's photo. So I would go with the TPC Sawgrass down in Jacksonville, Florida.
Fred, hundreds of Dye courses on 5 continents that have hosted major championships and Ryder Cups. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. TPC Players course is his signature course because the tour returns there every year, and it's becoming almost like Augusta National and some of the mystique, the 17th hole. If you're asking what is synonymous with Pete Dye, you got to go to what I think is a great golf course, one that brings up a little controversy every year, and one that brings great theater to the game. That has to be TPC Players course Sawgrass.
All right, so both gentlemen in agreement on that one. So we square topic number 2 as well. And Fred gets topic number 3, trying to separate from Steve DiMeglio here. The lighthouse behind the 18th green at Harbour Town this week is certainly one of the most recognizable symbols on the PGA Tour. Fred, is there a more iconic landmark out there?
Well, you go through the list of courses, and immediately the golf ball water tower at Bridgestone and Akron comes to mind. Maybe think of the statue of Ben Hogan at Colonial, but I got to go back to Augusta National, where you have your choice of about a half dozen. So I'm going to go with Magnolia Lane. You said Magnolia Lane, you immediately know what you're talking about.
All right, Steve, how about among the regular courses played on the PGA Tour? What do you got?
I'll go back to TPC Sawgrass. I think it's the most known golf entity that was built, and that's the Island Green at the 17th hole. I've been in bars watching this tournament, and people who haven't ever picked up a golf club know exactly what that hole is. It was Alice Dye's idea, by the way, Pete's wife, who had the idea of the Island Green. And I think it's the most photographed. I think it's the most well-known golf hole in the world. That 17th hole, I think, is the most known golf entity in the United States, golfer or non-golfer.
Hard to argue with that because it appeals to so many casual fans who may not watch the game from week to week. And DiMeglio gets that one because you mentioned Alice Dye. I'm sure she would appreciate that. So Steve DiMeglio.
Yes. I think the greatest revelation there was that Steve DiMeglio watches the players in bars.
Well, it was before I was a golf writer. I was on the baseball beat.
It's harder to concentrate on the tournament without sound, though, Fred. Well played, gentlemen. Thanks for your time this week. DiMeglio, the winner over Fred Albers.